So what I want to do is talk about today is what I call the sales flow system. It's a system we help businesses implement to reduce days on market, increase cash flow, and ultimately drive predictability inside their business. So I'm going to talk about a client of ours, Peter, we worked with over the last 12 to 18 months, down here in Victoria in a place called Geelong. When we first started working with Peter, he was writing between $300,000 to $400,000 in his business. He'd been able to go from writing $300,000 to $400,000 a year in revenue to around $1 million, and now he's about to go above that. So an increase of $500,000 to $600,000 by using this sales flow system. Before I start to talk about how it works, I want to talk to you about some of the problems that I see in a lot of businesses. So if you're out there watching this now as a leader or a salesperson, first off, what happens is you have what I call unsalable stock. So unsalable stock, where listings inside your business that are either overpriced, not the greatest properties inside your core market, and you get to a position where you either start to blame your vendors for them properties not selling, and that energy then just flows across to the rest of your business. I say this all the time. When you've got those great quality listings inside your business, or well-priced listings inside your business, my 16-year-old son could sell those ones. This process that I'm about to take you through is about how to make sure we can look at what I call that vulnerable stock inside your business to get to the point where we can actually get that more saleable. So let's talk about it up on the board. So we look at this sales flow system in here, which has fundamentally got three functions which lead towards a sale. So what we did with Peter inside his business using this was got him to understand what he needed to do on every Monday he turned up. What were the steps that he needed to take on every single listing? So we talk about this. First off being the inspection. We go around this cycle and look at this like a bit of a circle inside the system. The sale is the ultimate goal where we want to get to. So with Peter in his business, when we first went to him, had about 20 or 30 listings. So every Monday we came in, I got him to look at this process and identify where each listing was inside these three steps. So they're either going to be at the inspection phase, the feedback stage, or the reposition stage. So what I mean by that is this, is to be able to reposition that vulnerable stock or those unsaleable listings, the number one process is about to get inspections. So if you're watching this now, if you have an overpriced listing, generally inquiry is quite low. So we've got to be able to have a process to be able to drive inspections, which then leads us to be able to get accurate feedback, which then leads us to a reposition, which creates a sale. So in Peter's business, we were able to do that where we looked at, he might have had 5 listings at inspection stage, he might have had 5 at feedback, 5 at reposition, and let's say you had 4 up in here, which are at the sales stage. So every Monday, it was about 5 listings required the inspection. So we have a 2-tiered approach where we talk about that. Number 1 is able to do what I call the 1 to 3 inspection rule. So if you've got inquiries on other listings, to be able to get them across to inspect and view those listings that aren't getting the inquiry. The second part is what I call the 20% rule. The 20% rule, where we look at a listing, you look at the price point of that listing and take 20% off and then start to generate and call those buyers to get them through inspections. Now you might be watching this and think, why would I call a buyer that's got 20% less than a property to inspect it? Now when you think about this, how often in your career have you had a buyer who's told you they want to spend $500,000 and buy on the south side of town, and you bring them back a month later, they've spent $700,000 and bought on the north side of your suburb? It happens every day. And one of the things we got Peter to understand is by using the 1 to 3 inspection rule and the 20%, he was able to rapidly increase his inspections on those more vulnerable listings. Number 2, we're working then into feedback as part of his Monday game plan. The Monday game plan was then looking at the feedback loop of getting the accurate feedback and building a vendor platform, which then allowed him to move in to quality vendor conversations to create the repositions. And what he was able to do in a space of 6 to 8 week period, one of the things we asked him every week is, you've got the game plan, number 1. Then number 2, I want to talk about your execution plan. And the execution plan was just the percentage of follow through on the plan. He went from 50% to 60% to 70% to 80%, right up to 100. The result was his business went from $300,000 to $400,000 up to writing $1 million plus. So the key thing to be able to get growth in your business is to understand the implementation strategy on a Monday morning when you turn up to the office. If you get that right, massive growth will occur. So if you're like Peter was in his business when he first joined us, you want to jump on a brainstorm call, we'll take you through a 2-tiered assessment to understand how unsalable and saleable your listings are inside your business, and then give you a 30-day roadmap plan to be able to get growth. Send me a DM or send me an email, we'll talk about the next steps.